All right, incredible episode today we've got for you guys. This is episode 137. I've got a guest co-host that I've got to give a special introduction to, and I've got a very special guest that is coming up. Let's do this. Let's get ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Insight Podcast.
Regular co-host Rain Cruz, she is not available today, so I've got to do two introductions. My first one is for my amazing guest. Our guest today is a 10-4 pro MMA fighter who recently went viral for delivering some bloody karma at the Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA Dos Santos versus Verdum card. It's the whole reason I watched this event. His poise and composure shown before, during, and after the fight was almost as impressive as the ferocity and violence he brought inside the cage. From his gym in Florida, it is raining a storm out there. Everybody, please welcome to the podcast, Joey El Cazador Ruquet.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here.
What's going on, Joey? There's a storm brewing outside for you, my friend.
Yeah, Dan, this is not 5 p.m. weather. This is just random shenanigans.
Yeah, that's it. Joey, I need to introduce a very special guest co-host for you today. My normal co-host, Rain, is very upset that she could not be here today because she was so excited to meet you. She unfortunately could not make it. I had to call in a ringer for you, my friend. You are a bare knuckle MMA fighter, so I needed to reach out for the best. I looked back through my catalog. I found my good friend, former guest of the podcast. She is one of the baddest women on the planet. She is a bare knuckle champion. She is the strawweight BKFC champion, social media influencer extraordinaire, Britain Hart.
Yeah, what's up?
Britain, what's going on?
Oh man, just pumped to be here, to step it up, always leveling up, going from guest to coast. Super excited to meet you and hear your stuff. Definitely get you on the Florida shenanigans with the rain. If you're a Floridian, you know what's up. It rains, it's sunshine, you go with it. Roll with the punches, right?
Right.
Joey, thank you so much for joining the podcast. My friend, you are very calm in demeanor. And I realize this. Is that just who you are always growing up? I saw you mention something about how you've matured as a man, as a fighter, as a father. Is that coming with the territory?
I would say I used to be a very aggressive person. I would act on emotions a lot. Actually, my first world title fight, I got knocked out and was due to not controlling my emotions. I let anger get involved, and I tried to brawl with a guy I shouldn't have been brawling with. And from then on became the journey to controlling my emotions. And it wasn't just in the cage. It was controlling my emotions as a father, as a husband, and then it all blended together as an athlete as well.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's wonderful. There's actually a question I've been asking some of my guests recently. I fight with people all the time online, Joey, because, people love to send me the clown emoji because of my thoughts, and people were comparing pro fighters, pro athletes versus prize fighters. And there is a big difference. Can you explain that? Because some guests have said, no, there's not. Some people, so how do you see yourself and what do you see as the difference there?
I fight purely I just love to fight. I love the respect I get out of it. I love how people see me differently. I don't feel invisible. Prize fighters, they like to fight for the money. It's easy for them to just go in, get out, rack up, say whatever they want, talk a bunch of crap, get a bunch of views. There's no respect. They don't care what boundaries they break. It's all about the money, versus the love.
Yeah, nice, man. I like that. So you, of course, and if I have to ask the question, you see yourself obviously as a professional athlete.
Absolutely, man. If you give this, say 10 years ago, my mentality, it's really easy to get in a street fight because, like I said, it's emotionally driven. If you get into a street fight or an altercation with someone on the outside, it's usually because they bumped you or said something the wrong way, and then there's anger, and that anger is what will help guide anybody through, like, oh, whatever, I'll beat anybody up. That anger is driven on your action. You don't have full control of what you're doing. So, man, my bad. I lost train of.
No. Well, I mean, let me turn it to Britain. Britain, I mean, no one better than you. I mean, you're crazy. You're crazy in the ring. You seem to be crazy outside, but you hold yourself to a high level of professionalism. No? Are you a professional athlete or are you a prize fighter?
I really love this topic, and I totally agree with Joey, like, in the fact that, that is the big difference. And it's kind of like you see it in football, when people say, oh, I love college football way more, because they're doing it for the hopes that they get to that next level in professional football. Then when you go and watch pro football, I mean, you still love it. I mean, I love pro football, but that heart, that grit, that excitement is a little less than what you'd see, I think, in college, is normally the controversial topic. So with that, I definitely get that, like, that anger and passion, but that's the key word is, dealing with that is passion. And passion, you can't have one without the other. So if you're passionate about something, you can't just be love, professional all the time, because it means something to you. So when someone questions it, you're like, whoa, I worked hard. Like, you haven't walked a mile in my shoes. And it's very easy for us fighters to get hot-headed. And I always take it as, look, we do want to control it, but I've definitely been known for this in the ring. Just because we finished the fight, that only established who's the better fighter. It didn't establish the respect. I didn't get my apology for you dissing my family, my friends, my work ethic. When we get those apologies, then we're professional. But other than that, the fight only solves who's the better fighter. It doesn't squash the disrespect. And that's what I always look at it. But when a fighter comes in it and looks at it, hey, this is an even playing field. This is where, like Joey said, I'm not invisible. See me. Like, I'm on the same playing field. I'm not here for politics, robberies, reels, social media. I'm here to show that I put my heart, my body, my mind, everything on the line for your entertainment. See me and respect me.
Joey, did you know that this champion bare knuckle fighter is so eloquent in her speech? Did you know that?
Yeah. It doesn't happen to many of us due to the blows of the face.
Joey, I do have to ask you, my friend, what was that guy's problem? I mean, he was coming at you hard in the thing, the family, the what? Like, dude, you seem like the nicest guy. How did you rub this guy that badly?
Well, I knew he was a crap talker, so we actually prepared for it. A lot of my teammates would, on a regular, when we're sparring, start talking smack. They would try not to cross the line, but, like, my coach was like, cross the line, do it, because he's gonna do it. So it was honestly, it wasn't hard to do. But he talked to me after he gave my wife and my kid an apology and said he never meant any disrespect. And he said, but he's like, look, he's like, my shit talk got us over 1 million views. You know what I mean? And
Joey,
he sold the fight.
But so did you, Joey. I do want to say, because
yeah, for sure, I had to deliver on my end.
No, you delivered on your end, but you delivered before it as well. Because I'll tell you, I reached out and I messaged you. And Joey, in all honesty, I did not know who you were before this. But I saw those videos and I'm like, I love how this dude is reacting. I love the calmness. I love the composure. I loved how you were looking through it. And I messaged you and I said, you better kick this guy's ass. Right? And then sure enough, you did. And I'll tell you, you sold that fight as much as he did because of the professionalism that you displayed. I really believe that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no. Now, one thing I do have to comment. You are Puerto Rican French. You're a very handsome gentleman, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
during the fight, Britton, I'm watching this guy's fight. His hair does not move at all. His hair is perfectly styled the whole time. I mean, he's throwing punches, getting punched, but your hair was perfect, Joey. But you are not the best looking person in the family. I understand your wife is model of the year.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I got lucky. Blessed.
Yeah. And I just have to add, as the co-host, do habla español or parlez-vous en français?
Habla un poquito de español, entiendo un poquito más, pero I'm learning with my kids, you know.
See.
Very nice. And how's your français?
No.
No?
If
All
you-
right. But
I know that's it.
No? Okay. You are very you are quite the family man. I saw that your son was in the stadium watching you fight. What does it mean to you to have your family there and all that? I saw your wife posted a very lovely video about her following you around the fight night and stuff like that. But what about you having your family there?
That is huge support for me. You know, means the world to me. I know some fighters actually get distracted by some of that, you know, but if anything, it feels like an extra backbone, you know, like we're going through everything together. Me and my wife have been through everything, you know, 13 years together. She's been through the lowest of my lows to help guide me to the man I am today. Never gave up on me, so to have her there through my toughest mental journeys and battles, and know that she'll still be there as support.
That's great, man. And you're part of the Silverback fight team, correct? Out in Florida?
Yeah, Silverback fight team's in Las Vegas. And while I'm here in Florida, I think I might transition full time out here to Florida. I'm at Futures MMA.
Oh, nice.
So they both coach me. I'm still on both teams, obviously.
Awesome.
But they get along great. They both think alike, so it's a perfect blend.
That's awesome.
Now, what city, Florida is that in?
Fort Myers.
Okay, very nice.
All right. I can tell why you would want to move there. It looks beautiful.
Yeah. You know, it's a better. I can't say better.
Okay.
Not as crazy California. How about that?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Joey, what made you take the leap into the bare knuckle MMA, and where can we see you next?
Opportunity is the only reason. I hadn't fought since July 1st. I spent 7 years with Combate Americas to Combate Global when they rebranded. And opportunity came for this opponent for a bare knuckle. Money was right, fight was right. Took the opportunity, and believe it or not, some great things have come from this last fight. And stay tuned, it will be with Gamebred again. I'm not going to spoil the news yet, but look for January 20th. Big news.
Awesome. Dude, that is amazing. I'm so happy for you because I saw that you were taking some photos with Gamebred. The fact that you guys sold that pay-per-view for me, right? I tuned in 1,000,000% to watch your fight. So I can only imagine all the other people that did that. They've got to be respecting for you and what you did, the way you were fighting, incredible, throwing the elbows like from death, man. It was amazing. I'm very excited. When you announce it, please tag Fight Insight in the post because I'd love to share that as much as I can. Forever, you are a friend of the podcast. I will always send out your stuff to everybody, let people know when and where you're fighting because I do want to promote you and help you get the following. There's a page I follow. It's called @MMA Gains, and they normally track fighters' growth over time. Did you gain a lot over that weekend? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm not too up to par in the social media world.
Okay.
I just kind of post my fights up, you know, and mainly it's family time and just train. So like a lot of my training is in the darkness, you know, nobody really sees my progress or sees how much I'm doing. But I'm training 5-6 hours a day.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, man. Okay, well, I'm gonna put your Instagram handle down at the bottom later on in the show. It's Joey L Cazador. So make sure you go follow Joey if you're on audio only. It's at Joey L Cazador. I'll put it in the show notes as well. Britton, before I let Mr. Joey go, is there anything that you wanted to ask him or anything that you were interested in?
I just big shout out, mad respect. It's awesome to hear that fighters are like that. I feel like I'm one too. When people talk shit or say something, I'm like, or talk about social media, I'm like, dude, I'm training, working, living life out here. I don't know what the hell's going in here, but
Right.
it's super awesome to see that you're one of those role models that, hey, you stick to your grind, you stick to who you are, and those viral moments come naturally, and it comes to the real ones. So, and meeting opportunity, I know bare knuckle sounds crazy. Trust me, I know. Maybe one day I'll break into MMA, but it's super cool to see, guys like you just keeping it real.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys.
I mean, it is crazy. The two of you, two crazy bare knuckle fighters. Joey, I'm so happy for your success, man. I really, really am. I think that this is nothing but great news for you. I see you doing great things ahead. I mean, think about it from where you were, like you said, like a less mature man. Then now here you are breaking barriers, right? Breaking the news on Gamebred Bareknuckle. It was the best fight of the night by far. There you are, right? The star of it. Now, like you're saying, you're going to be back in January. So there goes your Christmas though, I guess, right? Like no Christmas pies. Yeah.
You're right, man. I got my middle son's birthday in the beginning of January. We got Christmas. Basically fight camp's already started yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so I do have to ask, how old was your son? He was present at your last fight, right?
Yeah, he's 11. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, only my oldest went.
I have news too. And so when I heard that from you, I was like, wow, it was super inspiring. I have a 9-year-old daughter. She went to one of my fights already. It went wonderful. So, what a testimony that some people are like, wow, you'd bring your children to this. And it's like, why wouldn't I? It's my dream and what I'm working hard for. Why wouldn't I want them to see the success and what I put in? But I fight on the 29th, and my 13-year-old son is going to be there for the first time. He's never seen me fight a professional fight live, nor really has he on TV either. So I'm like, to me, when I heard it, I try to pretend like, yo, cool, great. But inside I'm like, oh my God, I got to do extra good. Like, I can't get hit. I can't get touched because my son, he can't see that. Like, it's got to go down. It's got to be a quick one.
It will be a quick one, Britton. But no, Joey, I mean, like imagine as a child seeing your father, knowing all the training he does, knowing all that dedication, and then seeing it transpire as it did, right? Positively. I mean, win, lose, or draw, it's still lessons to be learned. But to see you go out there and be so successful and represent how you did, you are such a good role model, man, for your family and for other people and for other athletes. Like, really, really be proud of yourself, Joey. You're such a polite man. I do want to ask you one question before I let you go. But before I ask my last question, is there anything that you'd like to say to fans, viewers, and listeners of the podcast?
Man, no, this has been a beautiful, horrible journey. Start to finish, it definitely wasn't easy, but the process and seeing everything, and it's beautiful.
That's good, man. All right, my last question for you, Joey, and it's something that my mother used to ask me growing up all the time as a child. Like almost every day she would ask me this at nighttime. Joey Ruquet, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
I'm a 10.
Very nice.
Life speed.
Can I ask you to expand a little bit upon it?
Well, it's a matter of taking the actual time to fix all of my personal life problems, trying to be a better father, trying to be a better husband, trying to be a better fighter, be more dedicated to what I eat, what I train, how I speak, how I am, and my faith with God, and just bringing it all together, all in one. It has put me, like, I don't look at the things I don't have. I look at everything I do have, and I'm in a perfect spot. I'm in 10,000 times a better spot than I was last year, and a million times better than I was the year before that. Like, I've just been slowly climbing up. I've been proclaiming that this is my year, this is my year, and then, like, it wouldn't happen. And then I'm like, oh, this is my year, this is my year, and it wouldn't happen. And now I look at it, and for the past 6 years, every year has been my year. I learned something new that year. I progressed here this year. And I was like, okay, every year was my year. It just wasn't what I expected. Where I am now, man, I'm just super freaking blessed. Super happy. 10 out of 10.
That's awesome, Joseph. Thank you so much, Joey. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on this podcast. I hope that you don't drown getting from your car to the gym. But
Right.
thank you so much, Joey. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to speak with you. You are the man. I will follow you forever. Let the fans know. Again, he's at Joey L. Cazador on Instagram. Go follow him. This guy deserves your attention. He's a great guy. Joey, thank you so much. See you again.
Guys, it was a pleasure.
Take care, Joey. See ya. All right.
Wow, what a cool guy. It's so awesome to hear. I love that. The 10 out of 10, it's like, someone said to me, like, what's your perfect day? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know who I am. What is your perfect day? And someone said, you know what? A perfect day can just be, hey, I'm above ground. I'm not in jail. I'm not in bed, in my deathbed. And that, to a lot of people, is the perfect day.
Yeah. I mean, it is so important, I do want to say, and condolences, terrible to bring this up, but I feel like it's really important. But today on 1FC's Instagram page, Angela Lee, Unstoppable Angela Lee, released a video. Did you happen to see it, or do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Okay. This is very sad, but I do want to say this because I want to wish them well. But Victoria Lee, her sister, passed away. I think it was December 26th last year. They never said anything about it. So I was always worried that it was suicide. And Angela Lee, her sister, champion, atomweight champion of 1FC, came out today with a video on 1FC talking about her situation, that she had tried to commit suicide several years before and then did confirm that her sister was passed due to suicide last year. And so she released a video that was really inspiring in its way, right? To say, hey, people, go look forward. And she has this organization that she's bringing up and stuff like that, called Fight Stories, I believe. So I do want to wish them well. I know they'll never see this, but it breaks your heart because, you're talking here about people that just want to get up in that morning. And that's a lot what that video was. I watched it today and it was heartbreaking because you're like, that is terrible. It
is. And a lot of people don't know what you go through. And some of the happiest, smiling people are the ones that are, they're trying to put it on because they're breaking inside. And it's the only way they know how to. And
that's right.
It's really important for us as like fellow human beings to like pay attention to that. And just like you said, hey, they might never see it, but I mean, we're thinking about them. You're important. You're special. And so many people think that they're alone and that they're not, and no one cares about them. And we do. It's just, sometimes it's just waking up and seeing that and being reminded of that. And I'm reminded of that every day. I'm definitely not perfect. I've had my own struggles. I've had my own vulnerabilities that I share, and it's needed. The world needs real versions of people, whether it's dark and gloomy or happy. The real version, always kind of, it opens our eyes to what's really happening.
Yeah, it really is. Britton, you're so well spoken. The last time I had you on, I found it hard to just find some clips to put out because everything you said was so poetic. But I appreciate everything you say. Look, last week on the podcast, we had a young girl, Maria Favela, Mexican fighter, who just beat cancer. And her story was incredibly motivating, and it was so touching. Like I'm listening to it back and, so I wish her the best. And then sometimes when I'm doing the interviews or the podcast, I can't really hear everything that's being said. You know what I mean? Because my brain's going all over the place. But sometimes I listen to it back and I'm like, holy moly, just the stories are crazy. But yeah, like people, we always talk about on this podcast about just be a good person, be a good person, try to spread positivity, try to be positive with one another because there's so much negativity in the world. I do want to say we do a friends of the podcast update, Britton. We have mentioned you on it many times with all your successes since you were last on. But friends of the podcast update, I want to give a shout out to RageWorksNetwork.com. That's where you can find us and other great podcasts, RageWorksNetwork.com. I do want to say last weekend at UFC, Lupi Godinez and Kyle Nelson, Fight Insight went 2 for 2. Both of our former guests got their wins, so congratulations. Congratulations to the people that messaged me that said they did what they called the Fight Insight parlay, and they picked all our former guests, and they won big money. So that was pretty good. Britton, Smilin' Sam Alvey. You know Smilin' Sam, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that he won at Karate Combat?
Yeah, that was awesome. Big congrats. I know.
This dude knocks the guy out. Like, insane. This guy's career is now turning around after an amazing UFC career, no doubt, but lost quite a few. Now he's turned around. He won his MMA fight when he came back, and now Karate Combat. He's out there knocking dudes out. So couldn't happen to a better dude.
But it's so cool to see people like that. Like, I always loved watching Wonder Boy. Even see people like that in the arts, and karate not being one of the really popular ones. It's super cool when you have those people that spark it back and give it that surge of juice again to make it relevant.
It looks so 80s, right? Like, it looks like such an 80s action movie because they have no cage, no ring, right? It's just that weird pit that they're in.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. Like, it's so cool.
I'm like, I want to fight in that. I see that all the time. Or like the with the sandbags around. I'm like, I don't want to fight in a ring. I want to fight in the sandbags. Yeah. Like, that's cool.
Hey, go tell BKFC to set that up. And then I do want to give a shout out to myself. I'm going to be commentating my first ever event down at Fight League Atlantic in Nova Scotia at the end of the month. So I have confirmed it. I'm going to be down there they have a BJJ event on the Friday, and then they have their MMA event on the Saturday. I'm going to be doing some commentating on the Friday. And then on the Saturday, I think I'm going to be doing in-crowd interviews for them during the pay-per-view, and maybe doing some fighter interviews and stuff. So I'm very happy and excited to get that opportunity. So thank you. Yeah.
Congrats. Big shout out to you. We're all leveling up. Teamwork to the dream work.
There you go. And then, of course, Bryn, who would I be if I did not mention your fight? You said it already, but here we go. Boom. September 29th. You are the main event. Britton Hart putting your title on the line, strawweight championship. Britton, this is going to be a slaughter.
I mean, I always feel that way in my head. I'm going in, no matter what. But it is a very important fight. And I think, some people, I kind of love piggybacking off of our previous guest with Joey. I never underestimate anything. Like, some of the things I move in the silence. I went to the gym. I got mad because someone said I was underestimating this girl. I was like, oh, what? You mean I'm busting my ass and working out 2 times a week? Or not 2 times a week, 2 times a day.
2 times a week. Calm down, Britton. Calm down.
2 times a day to be underestimating someone? I'm like, the nerve. And they're like, well, it does look like you're having a lot of fun on social media. I'm like, oh, does it? Does it? Well, that's just me. But I'm not going to post. I don't post my sparring videos or my gym workout. Why? Because I don't want people to do what I do, because it's, it's driven me to my success, my work ethic and the drills I do. Like, that's my secret recipe. You're going to have to pay me to put that on there. So anyways, I'm very excited for this fight. Everything's a slaughter in my mind. It doesn't matter who it is. So whether it's, if you say the wrong thing to me or step up to me in the ring, I'm easily offended.
Bryn, you've been looking amazing though in your fights, and just not saying this because you are here with me and I am scared of you, but you have been leveling up every fight. Yeah, thank you. But you've been leveling up every fight. You've been looking sharper. You've been looking crisper, right? And then can I say you've been looking more jacked? Like, in your videos, you look physically much stronger.
Right? I know it's really weird hearing these compliments, because I love them, but sometimes I'm like, what? Like, wow, great, you actually look like a fighter now. Whoa. I didn't.
Oh,
I
hey.
didn't 3 years ago. What? But they're like, no, and I get what they're saying. I'm jokes, that's just me, and everyone who knows me always sees that. But I have been working really hard, and it's a reflection. And I love seeing the transformation in my skills, how I look, how I carry myself, how I speak. It's about being well-rounded in the
Yeah.
ring and outside the ring, and it all kind of intertwines. But yeah, I'm like, I love where I'm at and I want to keep it that way. And I know that I can never be stagnant or plateau to keep what I have. I have to always evolve. And so I'm always looking for that every single day, digging down as deep as I can, whether it might be very unorthodox, but I think that's what works. I think that's what's keep me from being burnt out. I think it's what keeps me
Right.
fresh and young and active. I love cross training. As long as it's something being fit, being active, being healthy, whatever that might include, as long as you're doing those things, I mean, it's going to keep you engaged in whatever your passion is.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, if you're not following Britton Hart, you're crazy. Your Instagram is at Team Britton Hart. You got to follow Britton for sure, right? That is a no-brainer. I do want to say your fight coming up. I did have some questions come in for you. How do you feel knowing you're like the best in the world? And that is from our friend at Hannah.
Yeah, she is my serious lighthouse. Again, going in and making everything full circle. Not some days aren't as easy and smiley as they are now. It's only this way because I'm talking to you and you're great. But and it's those things that keep me energized. If I didn't have people telling me that, sometimes I forget it. So, but there's every once in a while I'll get on my stuff where I'm just driving. I'm like, yeah, I'm a boss. I'm a CEO. Like, nobody beats me. And then there's some days where I'm like, oh my God, what if that lucky punch lands? What if this? What if that?
Right.
And I think it's all very healthy. It's very real and very honest. But to me, I really, when I get caught up in those moments, I look at really what I've been through and what I've done in my whole 33 years of living. And I'm telling you, I'm wiser than I look, because the years I've lived, I'm really like 60. So
old soul, Bryn.
It makes me, man, I really feel like, there's nobody like me. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not being like conceited or arrogant, but I just want to have that message and pass it to everyone. It's not just me, it's you too watching, this podcast or listening. Nobody is you. No one has done what you've done. No one's been through what you've done. There is nobody that can do what you do. And you got to remember that. And when you really look at and think of the things that you've done in your life, and even if they weren't perfect, we learn from it, we grow from it. And for me, I really feel like, I'm truly one of a kind. I feel like I'm a dying rare breed in this world that's changed, and especially after COVID, just to see people, their demeanor, how they act, like their work ethic, and just in the presence of social media. It's not a bad thing, but it's like, you see so many people that feel entitled to certain things without really working for it. And hey, as long as you have 101,000 followers on Instagram, you're good. It doesn't matter if you get knocked down and quit in the middle of a fight. Your followers say you're good. And it's just, it's one of those things to know that, I talk the talk and I walk that walk and I live the life that I preach about. And I feel like this fight, definitely is the most important, most crucial fight of my whole fight career, because I'm going to go out there and let the whole world know, not that they know who I am, that I know who I am. And I'm a boss.
Damn right. But, and it is so important. Like, I love what you said about the social media stuff. I could talk for hours about how messed up that has made our world. Like all these people with these thousands and thousands of followers that do it for that gratification, yet in all honesty, what they're putting out there is so vanilla. It's just carbon copies of the next thing. And in reality, I don't even know how some of these people are like proud of what they're putting out, because they're just like cutting and pasting stuff. I'm like, it's so weird that you're getting some sort of satisfaction from that, but I don't see them putting in real work or real effort. You know what I mean? Like, so it is really important, like you said, to be true to yourself, do what you're doing, be authentic to yourself, and then be proud of that. You don't need millions of followers to justify what's making you feel good. You know, Bryn, you know how many times I get people say to me like, oh, your stupid podcast and nobody cares about your podcast, whatever. My response to them every time is, I'm not doing this for followers. I'm doing this so that I can have a good time and that I can meet people that I admire and people that I like and people that become true friends. And I do it to give those people an opportunity to shine and for them to feel good, for them to get their story out, right? Like, I'm not doing it so that someone else can like it per se. If you want to like it, that's great. And I found people that do like it. But this is for me. Like, I'm not making any money off this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing this for the fun of it and for the enjoyment and to let other people have enjoyment as well.
Exactly. And I just
right?
really, you gotta.
It's so weird that people don't get that.
Like, why? Yeah. It's like, if you don't like it, like, don't say anything. Like, just don't follow it. Like, this is exactly like, this is something bringing us together. Or, hey, you know, one of my most favorite quotes in the world is that, you know, you can change the world, and changing the world sometimes is just one person. It really is. And we lose focus on that. If you could, one person hears this and something hits with them, they're like, whoa, and it changes their course of action, their life. You know, it's very powerful, and the power of words and what we attach to it, it's a very real thing. And if you can do that, I mean, just think that silly podcast or stupid podcast somebody said was like, well, wow, was it really stupid? Because somebody messaged me and said it changed their life and gave them a new look and perspective at life. So really, you know, any millionaire or successful person would never hate on someone who's putting their first little podcast out, because that's how we all get started. You know, with fashion, if that's how we all get started, it might be a total wash, but it's those who pick up through their trials and their failures and learn from it. Those are really the successful ones. So we just got to fight through it and sharing, you know, it happens to the best of us. Trust me, you get it every day too. And it's just, it's been a process to let it just be like, oh, I get why they're saying that. And it's okay. I'm on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. And then what, you know, you gotta do it for you. Britton, I did have one topic that I kind of wanted to touch on today, because otherwise this is just going to be a super positive podcast, which is great. But I did want to touch on one thing which is going crazy right now, which is the, did you by chance watch the Alexa Grasso versus Shevchenko fight?
I absolutely did. I'm actually a big fan of Grasso, and I'm actually going to be wearing funny again. Wild how like the universe works. Like, this is all coming full circle. So her organization, In Your Corner, which is a organization that helps PTSD awareness. I'm actually wearing her logo on my trunks on the 29th. So,
very nice.
Yeah, who would have known? I'm super sorry, and I have to give an apology to her that I didn't post her fight, nor did I really. She knows, I think deep down, you know, I didn't really give her congratulations, because I'm sure I know how it is. She's being blown up out of the water. So I'll let the dust die down, but you know, I'm in her corner, and that's the best I can do. Sometimes maybe I don't have to say the thanks or congrats, but she's gonna see her logo on my trunks. Just because, you know, she didn't pay me for it or anything like that. I want to do it because I believe in her. I believe in her mission. I believe in her story, and her story impacted me. And I really haven't even told her exactly what it means, because it's something that I just don't have words for yet, but I can show with action, and having her logo on my trunks is super symbolic to me. And I hope to her too. And she doesn't have to give me a message or send me anything. We just know, you know, we get that feeling.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And say the name of it again so that people know.
In Your Corner. In Your Corner.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. I will look that up for sure.
And it's on her page too. So, you know, I'm not, and I apologize. It's been a lot with me with Fight Camp, but if you go to her page, it's definitely, the link is at the top, and it will definitely be in mine. It'll be on my post too. I put it every once in a while, but I feel like if people look up In Your Corner, it should pop right up. It's got an awesome logo. The logo is badass. So marketing is freaking, but the mission's what's important. And just know going and tying in with the suicide, with people that say every year, this is my year. And sometimes we don't feel it is. Hey, keep fighting the good fight. We're in your corner.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to look that up as soon as I get off this. Of course, my
But yeah,
internet's
she
going
definitely
weird.
won. If we're going into that topic, if we're being
Okay,
controversial, having
so-
funny, she won. It was a great fight, though. Hell of a fight. Entertaining and action, and I loved it. But I definitely think she had the win.
Who would, I mean, to think about how people thought Shevchenko was unbeatable, untouchable at that weight class. And then for little Alexa Grasso to go in there and beat her the first time and then do what she did in the second fight was amazing, right?
Incredible. Just shows the power of here.
Whew. Yeah, that's
what that girl has.
People were saying, like, when you just looked at her face and how like calm she was when she was, she was in a choke or she was in a bad position. Emotion never changed. Focused, driven, just knew what she had to do. Never panicked, right? Amazing performance.
Absolutely.
The drama, though, Britton, is people are going crazy over that 10-8 round in the fifth. That's a tough one. Now, one judge gave Grasso the win. So to me, it was so weird that people were going crazy over the 10-8 round.
Right.
Versus just getting mad that the judge gave it to Grasso flat out. But okay, fine, right? I feel like it's almost like because that scorecard was read last.
It alters things a bit.
Right? If you gave that one first, if you did that one first and said 48-48, 49-48 Shevchenko, or 47-46 Shevchenko, and then 47-46 Grasso, I feel like people would have been more mad at the Grasso scorecard than the draw. But for some reason, all the pressure's on the draw, right?
Yeah.
Mind you, that judge that gave it, former guest of the podcast, Judge Mike Bell. Great dude. Okay. Go watch his podcast on here because he is nowhere around online. Right. He refused to do interviews and stuff like that after this fight, obviously, because when he came on our podcast, he said, I'm not talking about any of my scores in the past. I'm talking about judging and blah, 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 but he would not talk. So it is not weird for anybody that thinks, oh, why won't he come out? He never does. No judges do that I really know.
Why would they? It would be, smart move. It would be like kind of career suicide.
Yeah, because what are you going to say? Someone's going to take something wrong. They're going to back you into a corner and you're going to get pushed in a weird spot.
Always.
So I did some research into a 10-8 round. And so I'm just going to educate people a little bit here, Britton, and then we'll see what you have to say as well. But I did want to let people know that you have to look up the rules around scoring, and there's the unified MMA rules, so you can look it up online. What's important is that they changed it in 2017. They changed the rules. And they explicitly explain what a 10-10 round is, a 10-9 round is, a 10-8 round is. And then in 2017, I believe that's when they added more detail around a 10-7 round. And I think in 2017, there was the idea that there'd be a push towards a little bit more 10-8s than there were, with the super rare 10-7.
Yes, is a clear domination.
It's clear, flat out, like ruining the person. It's like watching a Britton Hart fight. So a 10-8 round, if you read into it, and I won't bore people, but please do take a look into it. Okay. So a 10-8 round talks about things and it uses certain words. It says a 10-8 round in MMA is not the most common score a judge will render, but it is absolutely essential to the evolution of the sport and the fairness of the fighters that judges understand and effectively utilize the score of 10-8. A 10-8 does not require a fighter to dominate their opponent for 5 minutes of a round. So there you go. Right away, that's like half the internet shut up. Because that's their argument going, well, she was losing the first half, blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Yeah,
so
but
the rule
takedowns,
says,
you get 3 takedowns at the end.
Well, so then they say it does not require them to dominate for all 5 minutes of round. The score of a 10-8 is utilized by the judge when the judge sees verifiable actions on the part of either fighter. Judges shall always give a score of 10-8 when the judge has established that one fighter has dominated the action of the round, had duration of the domination, blah, blah. Judges may consider giving a score of 10-8 when a fighter shows dominance in the round, even though no impactful scoring against the opponent was achieved. It's very confusing as you read through it, but it goes through different words. And the key words is impact, dominance, and duration. So it talks about those three things. And then, so the fact of the matter is the 10-8 rounds exist, and it is encouraged in the new rules. The fact that Judge Mike Bell gives it a 10-8 round and that 10-8 rounds aren't common is not his problem, right?
That's how he saw it. That's how he saw it.
It's how he saw it. Remember, a judge is by themselves in one spot. They're not sitting with the other judges. They don't collude with the other judges. They're on their own. He sees it how he sees it. Remember, he is in Mexico, so he's hearing every time Grasso does something. I'm going to put some pictures up on the screen very quickly, Britton, for those that are watching. Here's generally the end. At 1 minute 23 is when Grasso kind of takes her down. 1 minute 23 left in the round. That's when she takes her down and starts pummeling her. 106, pummeling her. And then as it gets down there, there's a little banner there. I apologize. But as it gets down there, it's 48 seconds left in the round. That's when she's got the rear naked choke. At 25 seconds left in the round, that's when she's pulled her down to her back. So it's that whole sequence that essentially Judge Mike Bell essentially is giving that 10-8, because that was a very thorough beating for that last bit in the fight.
Right.
What's amazing is I found an article on Bloody Elbow from 2017 when the new rules came out. They're interviewing Mike Bell about the rules. And the interview goes through. And it's his interpretation of it. And so he's quoted here as saying the interpretation of a large margin varied under the old criteria. As a result of this, 10-8 rounds were rarely being scored because several judges were looking for all the factors combined: domination, damage, and duration. Those rounds should have been scored 10-8 in both the new and old criteria. The new criteria, though, opens consideration up to rounds that may not have all those factors and possibly only one of them. So back in 2017, it was already happening where the 10-8 round was supposed to be a little bit more.
Right.
So it's interesting. And then he goes on to talk about it. They give some examples of 10-8 rounds. But it's very interesting if you read this article, again, on Bloody Elbow, where he talks about it. And he says, not the when assigning one. Hold on here. I have one good quote here. We should close the book. The education process will be continuing, but there does need to be a fighter. But there does not need to be a fighter beating the hell out of another to render a 10-8. We just need to determine what is a large margin of winning each round. The factors described, blah, blah, blah. The interpretation of a large margin varied, as I said, blah, blah, blah. So he's saying it doesn't have to be a slaughter for all 5 minutes. It has to be something that makes you want a 10-8.
Yeah, and that's what sucks is what you say. You keep using this word, and that's why I just like, it's just fighting, which is probably why we love talking about it so much. It's interpretation. It's not like football or basketball where it's points, and it's interpretation, and sometimes it sucks. It's interpretation can be so vast. I know on what stuff is, and I hate it. So many, but we got to learn that as fighters, and we got to learn that as fans, and we got to learn that as students of the game. Like I used to complain about it all the time. I punched this girl 30 times, but I'm like, I'm definitely scoring points, but judges score on critical damage. So when she hits me one time and it cuts me, ooh, now I'm bleeding. Ooh, that hurt. No one cares that I punched her 30 times. They just see the one punch that hurt. And right. I complained about it, and someone put it really, really firmly, but effectively to me, like, well, if that's what judges are scoring, why don't you stop hitting them 30 times and hit them one good time? I was like, wow, when you put it like that, I guess.
Why didn't I think of that?
Interpretation.
Yeah.
So, you just, as a fighter, sometimes it sucks. Like we have these game plans and we think of what we want to do to win the fight, but is it what the judges think is going to win the fight? Is it what the crowd is going to think win the fight? And that all, like you said, you brought up, in Mexico and Mexicans, and, their fighting style is way different. And so to please that crowd, they don't want to see people that are smooth, and they want to see, you getting in there and slugging it out. Where, people up north and, in Philly, they like that show. They like they don't care that you don't throw punches. If you move your head a bunch, you're winning,
Yeah. It's very different. Now I want to move on to Mr. Alain Joubin. You know him, the ex-UFC guy. He's a commentator, very handsome dude. Alain Joubin, he was online and he starts making the argument that only pro fighters should be judges. Only pro fighters should be referees. Now,
we talk about that all the time. Oh my gosh,
So I don't know. It looks like we're going to differ on this. One thing I just wanted to point out to Mr. Alain Joubin, I invited him to the podcast. He conveniently responds to me on everything else but my request to come on the podcast. But Mr. Alain Joubin, from what I could tell from research, some of this is a couple years old based on like data. Only 3 or 4 of the 70 referees in NHL are former players. Only 3 of the 121 NFL referees are former players. Only 7 of I couldn't figure this out. I'm thinking it's probably about 1 million FIFA soccer referees. Only 7 are former players.
Yeah, definitely.
That percentage we're talking is like a couple percent, 1%, less than 1%. It's very small. So when you look at referees and judges in MMA, like, we can pretty much like pick them all out of a lineup, right? There's not that many.
No, but I get and I hear that. And that's such a smart, like, definitely a great on the other end of the like, I guess the argument, what we're in all friendly banter, is, oh, look at that.
Look at my Evie.
It goes back to being like, wow, again, this is fighting, like this is combat sports. It's interpretation. Now, football and soccer and hockey, guess what? When the Panthers run it down and get a touchdown, and then, the Falcons go and they high step it in, the referee doesn't go, wow, you high stepped it in. You know what? You get the extra point already there because you high stepped it in. And the other one's like, well, wait a minute, we scored a touchdown too. Yeah, but you just ran it in.
So boring.
That's the difference right there, is that boxing, MMA, these, it's not, oh, they scored a point. It's so many different variables and interpretation of ground control, dominance, effective aggression, critical hits, number of punches. Do we include defense? Like, do we include style points? Like,
so wait, hold on. Good. So are you saying that my research was pointless because you're saying those sports are more rule based, very strict rules, whereas fighting is more interpretation? That's what you're saying. Well, that's good. I like that.
I think it's like, but I mean, again, it's about perspective and why we have these conversations, because when I hear what you said, I was like, wow, that's really, like, that would make me be like, well, that makes sense. You're right. And then I'm like, wait a minute, but it's a really great, counter argument for fighters being judges. But it's like, but this is totally like, we're in such a different realm with the scoring. It's not like hockey. Puck goes into the goal. Soccer ball goes into the goal. Basketball goes into the goal. It's like, well, damn, the punch went into the mouth. Winner, like, it doesn't. I wish it did work that way. Yeah,
but you know what? That's Britton. You're, damn it. You've changed my mind immediately on this. I was ready. I was ready to bring Alain Joubin, take him to school. But no, you're right, because you're saying it's the person who understands how to interpret it a little bit better. Now, mind you, Chris Lieben, the Crippler, he is now a judge and a referee, and he did his very first pro event just a couple weeks ago in California at Up Next Fighting.
Was he a good one?
Is he good?
Yeah, I didn't see
that, think so.
But I know him.
So I heard he did very well. My normal co-host Rain Cruz, she was announcing at that event, and then so she met him.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, he's a really nice guy. He did a good job. She didn't know who he was. I'm like, that guy's insane. He's like a maniac. She goes, oh, he just seemed like a nice referee. I don't know. Frank Trigg, he's also doing it. He's doing the thing. He's doing it at the professional level. So there are fighters that are getting in there. We interviewed Joe Daddy Stevenson, who just went through the course as well and is doing himself. Britton, one concern of mine, what about bias, though? If you're a former fighter, you've been in camps, you've been with teams, are you worried then that, another MMA Masters guy or a former MMA Masters guy?
It needs to be like the workforce, when you fill out these applications. Have you previously worked for this? Do you have any family members?
Conflict of interest.
It's and I think, with judges, if I was going to go and, present my case in front of a judge, if that judge is my family member or knows me, he should take the responsibility and the code of ethics and say, I know this fighter, I can't ref it. And I've heard some referees do that. They say, hey, I have a personal attachment to this fighter, I can't ref this match. And that's what just has to be done. And so many people can make the rebuttal. Well, who's going to say that? It's a very political, messy world dealing in combat sports. But then it's the due diligence of the other fighter. If the other fighter says, hey, wait a minute, I know these guys have trained together, I've seen them on social media, this is a conflict of interest, I think that's what the commission is for. That's what the Florida Boxing Commission is for. That's what Florida, Virginia, Texas, every state has their commission that's their job, is to make sure that the right officials are in place, the right judges are in place, and that all the rules are being followed to the best of our ability. Now, to say something doesn't fall through the cracks, that happens,
of course.
But it happens in every field, every workforce, even, dance, ballet, they have that corruption. So
anyway, my local tennis team, full of corruption, those bastards. Anywhere that there's somewhere that can gain power, there's going to be some attempt at corruption or whatever. That's fine. But dang it, Bryn, you are killing it today with the arguments. I remember Joe Daddy Stevenson, when I asked him that same question, because he's coming up, I said, well, what about the bias? He said that he, to himself, made the promise that he would never referee or judge someone that he cornered. That was where he drew the line. He said, well, if I've cornered them, that makes me too close. He goes, if I've trained with them and all that, they've been on my team, that's fine. I can still do my job as a professional. He was like, why would I ever put my career as a professional on the line? Like, if I'm doing this, it's just to be proper, and to think, like, why would I want that to happen to someone else? Right. So it's like, even Steven, you know what I mean? I have to uphold myself. But he said he would recuse himself if it was someone that he had cornered. But you're right. The commissions can make all those rules and set the boundaries and say, okay, well, this is how many degrees of separation you need to be for you to do an event. And look, at every event, there's multiple referees, multiple judges. We can figure this shit out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn it. Britton, I came in thinking, no, stupid Alan Joubin, you're wrong. Anybody can do it. But I like it. You're right. I don't want to fire all the current people.
It's just,
To also put it clearly, Herb Dean trains jiu-jitsu. Judge Mike Bell, he trains jiu-jitsu. These guys are not unknowledgeable about martial arts. You know what I mean? Now, to say what is a professional fight?
Some of them,
they're all and we're all open to human error, right?
Totally.
Not to say that his call was an error. I don't, you know what I mean? I watched the 5th round again today before this podcast, and I watched it on mute to try to avoid the sound or the commentary to bias me. I will admit, she won that round. I did think she won the fight. I think she won 3 rounds to 2, but it is tough for me to give that one a 10-8,
right.
Especially at the end, when you go back to those pictures that I put up, the last 20 seconds or whatever, when, so on the bottom right there, that photo, those last 10 seconds, 15 seconds, although Shevchenko's getting choked, she's punching her in the face from behind. And I know it's not great, but she's still doing something. Like, she's not just defending, like, she's still friggin' dealing damage, if anything. So it's tough to call that. But I did want to stick up for my friend Judge Mike Bell. I do think, hey, people understand that the rules changed in 2017. Go educate yourselves and go read on the rules before you just start making blind comments, understanding that it does not take full domination of 5 minutes. go check out that interview on Bloody Elbow with Judge Mike Bell, because they specifically talk about it. I think that's fantastic. And then come up with your decision. But I stand by my friend, Judge Mike Bell. I like the dude, and I think he made the best decision in where he could from the position he was in the standing that he was. I think he made the best call. We can't hurt on it. And you know what? I don't think a champion should lose their belt on such a close fight. You know what I mean? To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yes. And then so many people say that. So, again, we all have our little opinions, and that's what makes it fun. As long as we can argue it and discuss our points of view in respectful ways. What we see isn't what other people see, and we all need to just understand that and find the best way to talk about it. It was an entertaining fight, and their names are being talked about. They are both warriors, and the ref is gonna live to ref another day. So everybody life goes on.
I know, Britton. I've kept you way too long. Thank you so much. I can't believe you answered the call. You were the perfect co-host for Joey, but you're a fantastic co-host. Are you going to start your own podcast, or what's going on?
I know. I really always think about it. I've started this new little Britton Hart diaries on my Instagram that kind of go and shed some light. I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll be here another hour, but kind of shed a light on I post things, me having fun, this, that, because that's what we're supposed to do. No one wants to see the sad, hard shit. But my diaries sometimes talk about what really is going on. And so I kind of like that aspect. But, I got up to day 15. I did it 15 days in a row, and then I missed 2 days. So my thing is my schedule is too hectic to keep
consistency.
Up with it.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't miss it. If I did a podcast, I'd be like, yeah, my podcast is every Tuesday. And then I'd be like, ooh, it's Tuesday. Rock climbing. Sorry. Bye, guys. Next Tuesday.
Yeah. And then it's a year later. Oh, God dang. I got to get to episode 3 by now.
Yes.
Well, look.
I'll just be on yours, and it's good enough for me.
Britton, I appreciate you so much. You don't understand how much people loved you the last time. I know they'll love you this time. You have a fantastic following, Britton. Your social media has gone better and better since I met you the first time. I feel like your social media is better and better. It is very cool. It is PG-13. It's not crazy. It's nothing too risque, but it's for the dudes. It's a good Instagram to follow. Yeah, exactly. But for everybody,
while, you got to be like, oh yeah, you thought, boom, what? Yeah. Okay, wait. Too much.
No, but you are killing it in the social media space. You're killing it in the fight game. Man, I'm so happy to have seen you again, to talk to you again. I think you destroyed me on all these topics, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. September 29th? 27th? 29th. Okay. Britton, I will be cheering from you from Nova Scotia while I'm there doing the event. It's a little bit earlier there, so I will finish up my commentating at FLA Kumite 5, and then I will flip over to my BKFC app, which of course I have, and I will watch you kick some ass. Britton Hart, you're the absolute best. Before I let you go, is there anything that you want to say to fans, viewers, and listeners?
Just thanks for, support and spread that positivity any way you can. I think that this has been an awesome podcast. Thanks for having me on. Definitely follow our Instagrams and Spotify accounts, and all the links are going to be attached to this. Please show your love. It really means a lot, even though I said following doesn't matter, but...
Well, I'll delete that out. Follow. That's all that matters. Follow. God damn.
I said it doesn't matter, but really, it matters when it's positive. Yeah. So it's a great thing. And it's just a small gesture you can do to give to someone who's trying to change their life. And it's just, hit that. I try to be as different and fun and real, and you never know what you're going to see on my page. You never know what you're going to hear on your page. So just follow us. And if anything, if you need a friend to go get an awesome smile, I know a place in Colombia I can be your bodyguard and go to. So hit me up, or Dr. Diego Diaz, get that passport and go travel. And you know what? Take your chance and opportunity in life too, and do what you want to do.
Britton, I saw you and Andy the Crazian go out there and get your teeth done, and I didn't want to say anything. I didn't know if you want to think, but gosh dang, they are pearly white. If you're only on audio, come over and take a look. They're pearly white.
Right?
They look good. All right.
People are like, you need to start drinking coffee. They're too white. And I'm like, oh my God, they don't stain. No, stain.
No, it looks good. It looks good. Britton, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, if you're on audio, it's going to end here. But if you're on video, I'm going to put a couple of videos on here that you can click on. I'll probably put the Joe Daddy Stevenson one on. So that should probably be around there. And then I'll put the Mike Bell one over there. So go check those out. Britton Hart, thank you so much. Go kick ass. I'm so happy to see you again. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
See ya.